This week on Hooligan Nation, Alive 1 may be considered the greatest live record ever, but I think Alive 2 is better. Yeah, I said it. Stay tuned and find out if you agree, because you got
nothing to lose.
You wanted the best? Well, they retired. So you got two dudes in a garage.
Talking Kiss.
Welcome back to Hooligan Nation, a Kiss-Centric Podcast. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Rocco.
Oh, Alive 2. 15 great live songs and 5 studio tracks, one of which is an all-time classic that is absurdly overlooked in my opinion. Yeah. I figured we'd start everything out with a little controversy, you know? So, you got anything for last episode?
I mean, Love Gun was one of their best albums. A lot of great songs on it. And I think we pretty much covered everything we could possibly cover on that.
God, I think I could do a second episode on Love Gun.
Well, I mean, that was the catalyst to get into having 3 albums go into the bulk of Live 2, correct?
Yeah, I guess. Well, so we kind of get to revisit Love Gun sort of, kind of today. Cool, I'm good with that.
Yeah, me too.
All right, you got any news?
Yeah, actually I do. It's kind of a follow-up. I think we did this when we did Rock and Roll Over. You might remember Jakey Lee was shot in Las Vegas. And I got some follow-up information. I mean, when it first was reported, it was reported that it was a random act, and it definitely was not a random act. Jakey Lee saw, I'm going to sum it up pretty quick, but he saw people casing a neighbor's motorcycle. They were wearing dark clothing and hoodies. And they were in the neighbor's driveway again, looking at the motorcycle, and he had a verbal altercation with or confrontation with them. And then I guess both of them and him agreed that he would walk away. And as he walked away, they decided to shoot him. He was taken to Las Vegas hospital after being shot. And he said that the police found 15 shell casings. 1 bullet went through his forearm. 1 bullet went through his foot. And 1 went in the back, which broke a rib and damaged a lung, which the lung is probably the most important thing that he's still kind of recuperating from, but he was very lucky. He made statements, and he's going to come out and say more about it once he recovers fully. And then pretty much the last thing that he had said was that on Sunday, October 20th, he posted a photo of his dog, Coco, on the Red Dragon Cartel Facebook page. He wanted to say a big thanks to Sunrise Hospital for taking wonderful care of him. And again, he's going to divulge more about it, but it definitely wasn't a random act. And he's kind of gutsy for him to do that. But it sounds like the people that shot him were pretty cowardice.
You know what I got out of that? I guess this says a lot about me. First and foremost, you said the word motorcycle, which makes me think I should plug Riders Nation YouTube channel, which is our other YouTube channel that centers on motorcycles. So once again, if you're listening to this podcast, if you're one of the millions and millions of people that are listening to this podcast on one of the podcast platforms, or if you've already subscribed and you're watching us on YouTube and you have a motorcycle in the garage, just slide over to Riders Nation, hit that subscribe button. You'll thank me later.
Can I add something to that?
Sure.
I'm not a motorcycle guy, but if I was, or especially if I was kind of just getting started, not just because, we're related, there's some good stuff there. He does a lot of research on how to be safe. There's a lot of charitable organizations that he talks about on there through the motorcycle community. He goes to a lot of events and things like that. It's some very interesting content. I'm not into motorcycles, but there's a lot of beautiful motorcycles that he covers too. So if you're into motorcycles, I think you get a benefit out of it.
Anyway, let's move on.
Good.
I didn't mean to shamelessly plug the motor. Yes, I did. I did mean to shamelessly
There's some good stuff.
plug the motorcycle channel.
There's some good stuff there. Like I said, if you're a motorcycle person, you'll enjoy it.
The second thing I got out of that is somebody needs to go to the range and learn how to shoot. Because if you fire 15 rounds, and I'm guessing it was in close proximity, and how many times did they hit him? 4?
4, yeah.
They hit him 4 times, and once was in the forearm. Once was in the back, you said?
Yes. Which broke a rib and damaged the lung.
So where were the other 2 shots, you know?
One went through the forearm, one through the foot, one in the back, and then one one in the foot, one in the forearm, and then one in the back, which damaged the rib and a lung.
I can tell you this much, Jakey Lee's lucky that whoever was trying to shoot him can't shoot worth a shit. The third thing I got from that is the fact that somehow, some way, 15 rounds were fired. Again, I'm guessing close proximity. The damn dog should go to church. I'm just saying.
You got a point there, actually. Yeah.
15 rounds, and that dog zigged when it should have zigged and zagged when it should have zagged.
No, I mean, he had some guts, and like I said, our heart goes out to him and wish him a full recovery. He did some awesome guitar work in the past, so we're big fans too. So get well.
I love me some Jakey Lee. You can give me Bark at the Moon and The Ultimate Sin every day of the week.
Absolutely.
All right. I don't really have news. I guess it's news. It's kind of old news. I just wanted to address this because even I think I'm pretty hard on Paul Stanley a lot. And I think that I give Gene a pass way too often. But I listened to, it's funny even saying this, I listened to one of our older podcasts. It was about 4 weeks old. And you brought up the Joe Rogan podcast that's like 8 or 9 years old.
Right.
And I had watched kind of highlights of it, but I didn't watch the entire podcast. And the other night, I watched the entire podcast. And after pretty much beating Paul up about the Steve-O podcast, I got to tell you, he came across completely differently on Joe Rogan's podcast. Now, it's 9 years ago, but it's real. It was, at least to me, it was a really good retrospective.
Genuine.
It was interesting, and he came across completely different in Rogan's podcast. I mean, especially when it comes to, mental health and being bullied and not having the ear. Like sometimes it comes through to, at least to me, like Paul uses that as a crutch and as a complaint. And he really didn't do that at all on Rogan's podcast. So if I'm going to beat somebody up when they do something good, I want to credit them for doing something good. And as difficult as Steve-O's podcast was to watch, Joe Rogan's podcast was a pleasure to watch, and I thought Paul came off very well.
I think from what I gather, and again, if you haven't watched it, it's the JRE number 562. To me, Joe Rogan has a way of like putting people at ease to where they can just be themselves. Like Paul always seems like I think one of the things I've never really cared for is he feels like he always has to put on something. He always has to put on a bravado or something. On that, he was genuine. Like that's the perfect word for it. He was just laid back, and it was 2 guys just having a chat.
Yeah, for the last like 20 years or so, I've always thought that Howard Stern does the best interviews.
He's good.
I think Joe Rogan is different, but is as good as Howard Stern interviewing wise. Like it doesn't appear to be work to Howard Stern to interview, and Rogan comes across the same way. Like he's just one of a couple dudes sitting in a room having a conversation.
You know, it's interesting. That's a really good take on that because, you know, Howard Stern's a legendary, whether you like him or hate him, and a lot of people hate him, but he was a legendary media mogul. And Joe Rogan is him in this era, really, if you think about it.
I'll tell you one thing. I mean, he owns the podcasting world.
Absolutely.
So good for him.
Yep.
If we can't be millionaires from making a podcast, it's good that he is. But we are international superstars as of this week because a person in Poland listened to our podcast, which by definition means international. And we star in this podcast, so we are now international stars. Just saying.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll do my best. Anyhow, you got any music you're listening to?
I do. It's actually kind of comical because a buddy of mine, I'm a huge Queensryche fan too. Jeff Date's one of my favorite vocalists. And there was an album in 2003 that I completely missed of theirs. And he introduced me to it. The album's called Tribe. It was 2003. I kind of get stuck in the old, you know, Rage for Order, Empire, Warning, and obviously Operation Mindcrime too was legendary. But Tribe is really good. And there's a song on there called Desert Dance that is one of my favorites of theirs all time. It's really good. And I never even knew about this album. And the song Open. So I'd recommend those two on the album. But the overall album is really good too. And I was actually very, it was a nice surprise when you hear something from a band that you really like. That's like a found treasure that it didn't hit you at that time.
Yeah, I'm not a big Queensryche fan. I think it's the whole concept record thing. But I'll check that out. Maybe it'll be something I like.
Cool.
I don't have like specific music that I've been listening to. I mean, like, let me be for real. I can't put Jackal down. I'm sorry. I listen to Stranded just about every day of the week. It's like how I wake up in the morning. I did go to review Alive 2, and that kind of backfired on me this week because I've reviewed it about 15 times. I just can't stop listening to it. But I did have to take a break, and I revisited one of my favorite bands that just doesn't seem to be anybody else's favorite band, which blows my mind. Blackstone Cherry. Have you even heard of Blackstone Cherry?
Actually, I never told you this, but I actually was told about them a long time ago. And, I just got premium on Spotify, but I've had Blackstone Cherry on my library for probably over a year. I've yet to listen to any of it.
All right. Let's hold on a minute. For the millions and millions of listeners out there, yes, he did just say library. He did.
Library.
Yes.
Library. How would you like me to say it? I'm a Jersey guy. That's how it comes out, man.
I've been dealing with this since I was in diapers.
If you go to Both and Birthday, I'm going to get you.
Well, that's where I was going to say, look, library, Both, birthday, and say pillow.
Nope.
He won't even say it. For all you people that went to third grade English, pillow does not have an E in it. But when he says it, it has an E in it because it's a pillow. Okay.
You've heard of English. It's Rockoish. That's my language. Rockoish.
Just didn't want people to have to rewind and say, did he really say library? Yes, he did.
That's how I roll.
Yep. There you go. Okay. So Blackstone Cherry. Blackstone Cherry is a great band. If you don't know who I'm talking about, you need to YouTube or get on Spotify and listen to Blackstone Cherry. Trust me, you're going to thank me for it. I mean, if I helped you find Jackal, Blackstone Cherry is literally up there with Jackal. Okay? They have been active since 2001. They're from Kentucky. They're like a southern rock. They're like a southern hard rock band. They got some really good songs. Like, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but they're a very good band that just don't seem to be able to get any momentum. And I can't understand why. Their lead singer is their lead guitar player. He's a ripping guitar player.
They tour a lot?
It seems to me like they tour mostly in Europe because they're much more popular in Europe. I saw them at the Sherman Theater in Stroudsburg like 4 or 5 years ago. Literally, there might have been 200 people there. Like, this is such a good band to me, and no one seems to even know who they are, and it's a shame. So if you get a chance, check them out. If I'm wrong, leave some comments and tell me I'm wrong. I just don't think I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong about Jackal, and I don't think I'm wrong about Blackstone Cherry.
Well, I'll take it under advisement too, because like I said, I had a buddy of mine have me put it on Spotify to check out, and I just, life happens and you start getting distracted. But it's definitely on my list.
I really think if you give Blackstone Cherry a chance, you're definitely going to like them.
You don't ever really lead me in the wrong direction when it comes to music. I respect your opinion, so I'm definitely going to look it over.
Well, after you get done with that, check out the Spice Girls.
I think I'll pass on that one.
Spice Girls kind of like Nita Strauss. You can just mute it and watch the videos, and it's all good.
Okay, that works for me.
You know what I'm saying? Personally, I'm about baby, sporty, and scary. Okay.
All righty then.
I guess we can move on now.
If you want me to say my funny story of Gene I found while you're getting ready for the next, because we're gonna dive into the Alive 2 soon for the meat and potatoes of it. But
yeah, we were going right into Alive 2. So if you got something to say it.
Honestly, it's just funny because for as long as I've listened, and you probably have heard this before, and you can add to it if you like, but I've been following Kiss for how long? And I never heard this story about Gene. It's always been Gene doesn't do drugs. He doesn't drink. He makes it very well known that he doesn't do any of that stuff. Doesn't party. Gene has an affinity for sweets. He other than chicks, his other vice is sweets. So there's a story that's told. I guess he was in Detroit at the time, and it was like an after party. And I don't have all the specific details exactly right. I just thought it'd be funny. And if you don't know this story, you're going to find it funny too. So Gene had very little knowledge of cannabis brownies. And he was backstage and they were doing, there was a lot of stuff going on. And he saw brownies and went for them. And his son was telling the story on this. It's called the YMH Clips Podcast. That's where you can look it up, and it'll do better justice when you see it, when you go on there. But what's funny is he had 2 brownies, and he kept following the girl around that had the plate of brownies. By the time he was done, he had like 6 brownies. And if you've ever had a brownie filled with cannabis, 6 brownies is absolutely insane. Not that I would know, but
I think it's too late for that.
Anyway, listening to Gene, especially if you're a fan of Gene, and listening to him describe the way he was feeling, and at one point he's talking about his head, feeling like his head was really small, and just listening to it's worth it. It's called the YMH Clips Podcast. You'll see his son is on there talking about it. It's freaking hilarious. It's the only time he's probably ever had that experience in his life, but listening to him talk about it is pretty funny.
Hey, you ever seen the Gene Simmons sex tape?
Excuse me? No.
No, you've never seen that? It just made me think of that because you said his head was small. and I can agree.
Wow. He's here all night, folks. He'll be here all night.
But it is true. There is a Gene Simmons sex tape.
Wow, I didn't know
A-
that.
And I have seen it, and it's not very entertaining, actually. But
I'll pass on that one. I'll just listen to him play bass and sing.
well, wait a minute. Yeah, it's a
No, I'm
Gene,
not putting it that way. I'm just saying.
it's a Gene Simmons sex tape, but it's not like Gene solo or anything. There's a chick in it.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything like that, but I mean, I didn't know that though. It's after all these years, you'd think you would have heard something about it.
I did.
No, but I'm saying it probably happened back in the 70s, way before Tommy Lee and Pamela.
No. Mm-mm.
Really?
It was in the 2000s.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Right before and we're doing what we do, but did you ever see the interview where Shannon and Gene, they went on an interview show, and it was a bad day to be Gene, and Shannon lost her shit in the middle of the interview and walked out?
Oh,
It
yeah.
was-
Yeah, he made a joke. He made like an off the cuff joke. I
Yeah,
don't remember
about
what show it
not
was.
being married, and
Right.
you know, speaking of that, everybody thinks they're the man in the relationship, and he's the god of thunder and the war machine, and he made a joke about not getting married, and then she walked off the set, and I think a couple months later Gene was getting married,
Yeah.
proving that no matter where you are in the world, no matter how rich or poor, no matter how young or old, if you're a man, the woman is in charge.
Happy
And
wife,
the,
happy life.
and the quicker you learn that they're the boss, the better off you are. I'm still learning that day by day also. Maybe I need some weed brownies today. I've actually never had a weed brownie.
I've had a couple experiences, if I'm being honest. And as long as you don't indulge like Gene did, it's a pretty cool I never told you some of these stories, but it led to an awful lot of extra fun too. So yeah, that's stories for another time. Probably not on this. It's this is kind of a censored type of
Is there a John Rocco sex tape out there?
there's not a John Rocco sex tape.
In the John Rocco sex tape, you're not wearing that shirt or that hat, are you?
No, I decided to be colorful. Hopefully you guys like it today.
Oh, you're colorful. There's no doubt.
And I got to represent my Yankees, so hopefully they keep on winning.
Actually, the funny part is it'll all be over by the time this podcast airs.
That's very true.
Anyhow, let's move on, shall we?
Yes.
I'm sure nobody else wants to hear about your sex tape.
I don't really need to talk about it. It's that's old history. So, but some fun moments.
So what you're saying is there is a sex tape of you out there. That's what you just said. Let's move on. So, Alive 2 was released October 14th, 1977. It was recorded April 2nd and August 26th and 28th, 1977. It was recorded at the Forum in Inglewood, California, Capitol Theater in Passaic, New Jersey, and Budokan Hall in Tokyo, Japan. The studio where they pretty much mastered the record was at Electric Lady. It's 71 minutes, 26 seconds long. Of course, the label is Casablanca, and it is produced by the Godfather, Eddie Kramer. They released 2 singles, Shout It Out Loud and Rocket Ride. Let's talk about the album cover. I really like the album cover. To me, it really plays off of Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. I don't know where that comes from, but the album cover seems to play off of Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park to me. And for all you kids out there that listen to music digitally, or all you people that are younger than us that buy CDs, this is an example of a record that had to be bought in vinyl. because when you opened up a double record
All right.
and you saw the picture in the middle, it was a life-changing experience. Actually, it was so life-changing, it's kind of behind me right now, to tell you the truth, because it changed my life. So I'm going to put a picture up on the screen, and I'm going to tell, for all you Kiss fans that don't know this, I'm going to tell you a cool story. For all you diehard Kiss fans, I expect that you know this. But that picture that is in the middle of Alive 2, it never happened, and no one ever saw it. And it never happened, and no one ever saw it because they went somewhere, and I'm guessing it was at Capitol Theater. It's only a guess, but I'm guessing that at Capitol Theater in Passaic, New Jersey, they set their whole stage show up, everything up, and they blew off everything they had at one time to take one shot. So that picture that you see never really happened in real life. For me, I think that's a cool piece of history right there.
Absolutely.
Hey, Kiss Army, we work hard on this podcast and try to give you the best content possible. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Also, the podcast is now on all the podcast platforms, so please like and follow us there and give us some 5-star reviews. It really helps us out.
And while you're there, let us know if there's any Kiss-related subjects you would like us to cover in the future episodes. Give us some likes. It really helps the channel out and it helps us build the community.
And I am going to probably piss off 3/4 of the Kiss Army right now by saying I like Alive 2 better than Alive 1. Sorry. I think the songs are better for the most part.
I have a photo finish tie.
Yeah, I don't really have it as a tie. I mean, I don't want to go song for song because it's kind of redundant, but Detroit Rock City, Making Love, Love Gun, Calling Dr. Love, Shock Me, Hard Luck Woman, I Stole Your Love, Beth, God of Thunder, I Want You, Shout It Out Loud. I just think they're better songs. Eddie Kramer comes in and kills it again. Yes, there's piped in crowd noise. No, I don't care. If you out there that are watching and listening, if you care, I'm sorry that you care. I really don't. It sounds good. The fact that they re-recorded things here and there, that doesn't bother me either. Like, you spend your hard-earned money on these records. The last thing you want to do is hear Gene Simmons panting in the mic because he's been running around in dragon boots for an hour and a half. I don't really have an issue with it. So, great choices on songs. I would have liked to seen Hooligan here, but I can let them slide on that. And on top of it all, there's side 4, and side 4 is a very good side.
I like it. I like all the songs on it.
Well,
Hey, even any way you want it. I like that too.
no, there's always a stinker.
I like it.
Your thoughts on Alive 2?
Well, again, I like them. I know you think it's like a politically correct statement, but I like both Alive 1 and Alive 2.
Well, which one do you like more?
It doesn't matter because if you look at the stats, Alive 2 blew it away. Alive 2 was their was the band's first to be certified double platinum in February 1996. First album, sold 1 million copies. That same month, Kiss announced the reunion tour.
Oh, okay. I understand what you're saying. Yes, when it was recertified double platinum.
Yes. I kind of went around the corner to get to that point, but
hey, let me ask you a stupid question.
Sure.
If Alive 2 got certified double platinum in February 1996. Then where did the record double platinum come from?
I don't know, but remember I was telling you how they were kind of stalling. They did double platinum and Alive 2 because they were stalling for how did I word it? I was telling you that before.
Yeah, they were stalling for the solo albums.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, I got that. But what I'm saying is, was any record double platinum at the time that they put double platinum out, or did they just falsely name a record?
That's actually really, really interesting. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. And actually, if you guys are out there and you're definitely welcome to add that into the comments because I really don't know.
I guess we're gonna address double platinum.
Yeah, we'll definitely be going to that at some point. Because by now, if you listen to this, that's my favorite album, even though it's not not an album.
It's technically the next record.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, double platinum was my introduction to Kiss. So it's interesting how all the dots are getting connected, though, because this, from what we did from our deep dive, was kind of like a stalling thing so that they can make the solo albums like a big thing and an emphasis because they thought doing the solo albums was going to be able to like kind of like pause and be able to bring them to new heights. And I mean, obviously, Alive 2, would you say they were peaking at that time?
Oh yeah,
right. And it actually kind of signified when they did Alive 2 that they were kind of like it's the beginning of chaos for them, really.
I'm not sure if I said this for Love Gun. If I did, I take it back. I think Alive 2 is the top of the mountain. It seems to me like Alive 2 is when they peak. And then, Double Platinum is a compilation record, which you got to give Kiss credit. You go from a live record to a compilation record. And by all accounts, they successfully did it. I mean, to this day, Kiss fans are 1 in a million. I mean, no matter what Kiss puts out, they consume. It doesn't matter what it is. And I just don't know how many other bands out there could put out a double live record. Now, look, I give them credit. They put they put 4 original songs, and of course they had to put a cover in. Why, I'll never know. And then they followed it up with a compilation record. And people just keep buying them.
Well, and how many people, if you clump Alive 1 and Alive 2 together, at that particular time point in time in music and rock and roll history, like how many people were putting out live albums and successful live albums?
Look, I'm going to say this, and this may not go over well either. There's nobody that I can think of that puts a live record out that I'm interested in listening to other than Kiss. There's nobody else. I mean, Alive and Alive 2, and for that matter, and we'll get to it, Alive 3, they're as good to me as studio albums are. I can't say that I can think of from any other band. In my opinion, Kiss is the only band that can put out a live record, and it's actually worth listening to regularly. Like, listening to it once in a while is one thing. I put this on, started to do homework, and I just couldn't put it down. I couldn't put it down for the last week.
Well, you're going to love what I have to say now then. It also is pretty neat how, because you listen to Live 1, you listen to Live 2. We've been to how many, 6 or 7 Kiss shows? I'm saying I've been to maybe 6 or 7 of them. I'm saying my point I was going to make is that you're there, you're listening to this, and you actually remember being there watching the show. And you got to give the producer props big time for encapsulating that and putting that on record.
Yeah, so I don't enjoy listening to our podcast pretty much because it's us talking, but because I edit them, I have to hear us over and over again. And a lot of times I come away saying we're giving Bob Ezrin and Eddie Kramer too much credit. But when it comes to a live record, like a live 1, a live 2, and a live 3, you really got to give, I think, the producer a whole lot of credit. I think whoever mixes the record and masters the record's got to get a lot of credit.
Absolutely. I think it was an important time for them to make sure that it was all fresh and new and not borrowing from before. So this way it stands on its own.
As far as the live portion of a live 2 goes, there's no stinkers. There's none. I mean, even tomorrow and tonight, the live version is I like the live version better than the studio version. I'm looking at the track listing and really all of this. Look, I think Hard Luck Woman is a better song live. Shock Me, you brought this up, but Shock Me's got a killer. It's got killer guitar work from start to finish.
Absolutely.
But it's a killer solo live. Shout It Out Loud, Love Gun, Detroit Rock City, both live were great. I mean, I understand that everybody says that the live broke Kiss because it embodied what they were. I think Alive 2 did also. It's at least equal. Because of the song choices, I like Alive 2 better, but it's at least equal to Alive 1 to me. Because they're such good songs and they come through so good live. And I don't think every band can do that. Actually, nobody really can to me.
We're in lockstep with that. I mean, that's why I said it was, in my opinion, it's a photo finish because I think they both stand on their own. I think the timing for both albums were absolutely perfect.
You got anything else on the live version? The live portion, I should say?
No, I'm not really. Like I said, I mean, my favorite part about listening to these albums, the live albums, is that, if I want to go back to a Kiss concert the rest of my life, I'll play these albums and I'm right back in that seat again.
Yes. Any of the 3 of them. Look, I'm not counting that shit that they put out as a live 4, because I'm not a real big fan of it. Orchestra, that kind of stuff. I thought it was goofy when Metallica did it. I think it's goofy when Kiss did it. But we'll get to that at some.
I mean, the Metallica take. I mean, the S&M album, it's not the same feel, but I thought it was Metallica's music is more conducive to like the classical feel. So there's some stuff that's really, really good on that. But that's a conversation for another day.
I don't normally like orchestras, no matter what setting it is. So unless it's a Star Wars movie, and then I can listen to orchestras.
You and your buddy George Lucas. Did you want to cover? We have just some other people that performed on the live too.
Are we going to have a conversation about the legend of Bob Kulick?
I'd like to. A hidden treasure in Kiss's history or Kiss-Story.
Yeah, I can actually completely run with that. Bob Kulick plays lead guitar on All American Man, Rockin' in the USA, and Larger Than Life. And I think he does an incredible job. We're going to hear more from Bob Kulick in the very near future because he plays lead guitar on Paul Stanley's solo album. And he also plays on Killers. I thought this was interesting. Any Way You Want It, Paul plays all guitars and bass on Any Way You Want It.
Oh wow, I did not know that. He plays bass on that?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. This is crazy how Kiss does this. It really is. Gene Simmons plays rhythm guitar on Larger Than Life, and Ace Frehley plays all guitars and bass on Rocket Ride.
Wow. I personally like All American Man. That's my favorite out of the new ones.
I like All American Man. You hear a lot of that Paul Stanley voice on the upcoming solo album.
That's actually interesting. Yeah.
Where he doesn't go really crazy high pitch. Bob Kulick does an incredibly good job, in my opinion, playing guitars on these tracks. You can tell it's not Ace. I can tell it's not Ace, but it is very good.
Well, I told you my funny story about doing the homework today and listening to it. I'm listening to the song and I don't even realize it, but I changed. There's a line there where it goes 6 foot hot look, all American. All of a sudden just started singing 5'7" because I'm 5'7", all American, man.
Well, I'm pretty sure if you weren't 5'7", you wouldn't change the words to 5'7", but
yeah,
I mean, who would? I think people want to be taller and not shorter, so I don't see a 6'4" guy changing the words of the songs to 5'7". But
yeah, but I'm not getting to 6 foot, so
no. Anyhow, Rockin' in the USA. It's goofy.
It's kind of goofy, but
I like it.
Yeah,
it's like chocolate ice cream.
I like chocolate ice cream.
I don't know. Rockin' in the USA is like a
very commercially driven song.
But at the end of the day, I like it. The lyrics are goofy. Like, I agree, everything's goofy about the song, but it's a good goofy to me.
Yeah, it's catchy, most of their songs. Yeah, it's nice groove.
Larger Than Life, it's there. It's just there for me.
Yeah, it's same here.
It's not terrible. It's probably the weakest of the 4 original tracks, in my opinion.
No, it's definitely the weakest of them.
But it beats Rock and Roll Party.
It's not really that much of a stretch. But yeah, I'd agree with that.
I was trying to be positive.
I understand.
And now we move on to what may get me in trouble, because I think that this song is the most overlooked song probably ever. To me, this is the single greatest Ace Frehley song that he's ever done. This is perfection to me from start to finish. I don't know why the song is not more popular than it is. I mean, they put it out as a single, so they had to know they had something, I would think. But revisiting this song and considering all the other Ace songs, including his entire solo career, to me, this is number one, and it's number one by far. And I love Shock Me. I love New York Groove. I love Rock Soldiers. I love Into the Night.
Into the Night is awesome.
And there's a bunch of other songs. Speeding Back to My Baby.
And I don't mean maybe. Yeah.
Rocket Ride is just so much above everything else. And again, this may piss certain people off. Number one, Rocket Ride to me proves there is no better guitar player in Kiss than Ace. Ace could kick Vinny's ass, and this song proves it to me.
Well, listen, I mean, me and you we're lockstep when it comes to Vinnie Vincent's an incredible guitar player, but Vinnie Vincent is more concerned with speed than melodies, than making stuff sound like it belongs together. He wants to show you how fast he is. And I think that's where his ability gets lost. Ace is always melodic in what he puts out, but I would put Bruce Kulick, really, my personal opinion, I'd put Bruce Kulick right on his coattails, because Bruce Kulick is a very underrated guitar player. Rocket Ride, in my opinion, It's a close second because I love Shock Me. Shock Me to me is the epitome of Ace.
I think Ace's vocals on Rocket Ride are his best vocals. I think the solo on Rocket Ride is his best solo. To address the speed factor of Vinnie Vincent, the beginning of Rocket Ride solo, I would say, is a speed solo. And Ace proves that he can do it
Oh,
if he
sure.
wants to do it. I think if I was going to list the guitar players in Kiss, I think Bruce would be second. I think Bruce is technically probably the best technical guitar player that ever played in Kiss. Ace was probably the one that had the best feel
You know what?
out of all the guitar players.
You know what? You're drawing me back with that. I'll give you that.
And I think Tommy Thayer was fake. Oh, trying to get through a podcast
Dude,
without beating Tommy Thayer up.
Tommy Thayer's a guy who wants to get paid, man. He's not a bad guitar player, but he's a guy who wants to get paid.
So we can group him with the prostitute.
Boy, you really don't like Tommy Thayer. So if Tommy Thayer was to show up on your doorstep to say hi, what would you say?
I'd kick him the hell off my doorstep.
Wow.
I've said this in past podcasts. I don't know why I do not like Tommy Thayer. I do not like him at all. I have no idea why. But if I had a dartboard in my house, I'd put a picture of Tommy Thayer on my dartboard.
Well,
I just don't like him.
There's not like there's any history where he was like pushing the buttons to make Ace not be around.
No, I just don't like him.
I really don't have a really an opinion really too much about the guy, but I just look at him as a guy taking advantage of an opportunity. That's all.
I have zero dislike. Look, I don't like certain things that Vinny did when he was in the band, but I don't dislike Vinny. I don't dislike Mark St. John. I don't dislike Bruce. I don't dislike Eric Singer. I definitely don't dislike Eric Carr. I just don't like Tommy Thayer. I have no idea what it is.
Hey, Tommy, if you're listening to our podcast at some point, I don't really have a take either way, dude.
Hey, Tommy, if you're listening to our podcast, get your shine box.
Wow. Somebody's got to make some comments on this at some point. If you can't make a comment on the TV, it's easy to do on your mobile app. So I definitely, if you see this, please make a comment.
You can make all the comments you want. I just dislike Tommy Thayer and everything about him.
Yeah, but somebody's got to stand up for Tommy Thayer. They got to add some comments.
Nobody going to stand up for Tommy Thayer. Do you know that Tommy Thayer has his own website? You talk about a waste of money. Who is going to visit Tommy Thayer's website? He sells like one thing on it, and I think it's a condom with holes in it or something.
Okay. We've definitely gone into the weeds on that one.
I just got no use for Tommy Thayer. And Tommy, if you're listening to this, I don't care.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, I think I'm pretty good. We were talking about the other thing about Bob Kulick and just how much he's meant to Kiss. The only thing I'm going to sum up is just that he had a lot of input on this album too, on the live album. And we can keep on going back to Bob Kulick an awful lot. Like he was kind of like Kiss member without the recognition most of the career.
If Ace Frehley, Peter Criss, Paul Stanley, and Gene Simmons are the original four, and Eric Carr, Vinnie Vincent, Mark St. John, Bruce Kulick, Eric Singer, and that other guy are replacement players, you have to include Bob Kulick and Anton Fig. To me, you have to. And it probably should be Anton Fig and then Bob Kulick, because Anton Fig plays on 2 complete records. I mean, I would hope that most Kiss fans know that, but Dynasty and Unmasked is 100% Anton Fig. It's not 100%. Dynasty, Peter Criss plays on Dirty Livin'. But other than that, that's all Anton Fig, and Unmasked is 100% Anton Fig. Like, dude was literally a member of the band without being a member of the band.
It's actually an interesting interesting thing for a band. Like, how do you do that? Like with Bruce, they felt like they had to make him a full-time member and add him to the band. It's interesting how, like, you have that much interaction, how you don't become like like a member. Like it's interesting how they always kept them on the fringe.
Actually, I've heard stories. He was a member of Kiss for about 24 hours. I don't think I've ever heard of why that didn't happen, but he was actually supposedly, allegedly, a member of Kiss for about 24 hours.
In summarizing this album, The Alive 2, we both agree it was the peak of the band, but it also kind of marked kind of something being set up to start going to kind of a decline and turmoil with the band.
I don't know that they knew that they were going to decline. I don't even know that they knew that they were in turmoil at this time.
Your take on Rocket Ride, like that kind of was a game changer because they saw what Ace could do.
To me, Shock Me was the Kiss of Death. But now that you bring that up, backing Shock Me up with Rocket Ride was definitely the Kiss of Death. And why do I envision Eddie Kramer sitting in the studio with Ace Frehley as he's recording Rocket Ride and saying, "We're going to kill it"? And I don't even know that Ace Frehley had chosen Eddie Kramer yet for the solo record or anything. But man, when it comes to Ace and Eddie Kramer, there's just nothing bad. Even today, Eddie Kramer is still active, still produces records. I cannot figure out why Ace Frehley does not call Eddie Kramer every time he makes a record. I love Alive too. I love Side 4. Rocket Ride is definitely the star. I do want to add that Ace's solo in Rocket Ride is so good. It is so good that when I was playing air guitar for it, I broke an air guitar string. But thank God, Kiss sells replacement air guitar strings. So I was able to fix it and continue on.
And if you didn't catch that on the last episode, he's not kidding. They sell air guitar strings.
Yeah, and thank God, because I broke one.
Yeah.
It's rough when you know how hard it is to replace an air guitar string when you don't see very well?
I can imagine.
It's difficult to do. I think we've pretty much said all that there is to say about Alive 2.
Absolutely.
I do want to plug the fact that we are going to go in uncharted territory in our next episode. We are going to bring on our first guest. I am going to keep that kind of a mystery for now. It is going to be a Kiss-centric episode. I will tease the fact that we are going to discuss the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as it relates to Kiss and the fact that only the 4 original members were inducted, in the fact that it took way too long for Kiss to get in there. But we are also going to address other topics that pertain to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and we are going to do it with our first guest. Our first guest will be someone that has been podcasting for 15 years and that I have known for about 40 years. So we've never done this before. We'll see how it turns out. But that will be on our next podcast. So with all that being said, as always, if it's too loud, you're too old. Peace out.